So I've been training regularly for 12 years or so now. Always been super into the gym, always been super into fitness. Also do a lot of martial arts stuff. I used to be a judo coach and a jiu-jitsu coach. I still train those things these days. And I'm also a full-time personal trainer. So I know quite a bit about exercise and coaching, but the reason I came to you guys was that I really, really wanted to take the sort of thinking out of it for myself, because I write programs and talk about other people's training and talk about training in general all day, every single day. And that's great and I love it. But when it comes to doing it for myself, it kind of takes the fun out of it and it feels like more work. And I just wanted training to just be enjoyable and nothing else. And I think it was when I was trying to sort of freestyle things and program for myself, I wasn't very good at regulating myself. I would try and put too many things in one program, try and train too many days in a row, or train when I was too fatigued and things like that. And that led to me kind of like overtraining a bit, and I had like some problems with sciatica and various little back things towards the end of 23 now. Like I say, nothing, incredibly serious, but enough that it was like really, again, just taking the fun out of my training a little bit and making it that every session was a bit of a slog. And I didn't want that anymore. I always thought in the back of my head that having a coach would be a good idea, because I know, obviously, because that's what I do, that having a coach helps you organize your training and plan things better. It's always good to have another objective set of eyes on things. But I didn't know who I wanted to be my coach. There's so many online coaches around these days and not all of them are very good. And then I obviously knew Tarun personally through jiu-jitsu and thought he seemed like a good fit for me and seemed like he had, we share a lot of the same values and stuff around training. And I thought, okay, so he won't try and change what I'm doing too much or control what I'm doing too much or force me to do stuff that's just not me at all. He'll let me kind of do my own thing a bit, but also just kind of rein me in and plan things for me when I need them planned, which is what I wanted. And yeah, that's exactly what he's done. I think mostly it's just the organization and the planning. So I perhaps would know what exercises do what thing and how to get to certain places, but I think sometimes you probably get this as well. When you're into lots of stuff fitness-wise, when you have lots of interests and lots of things that you like doing, it can be hard to prioritize them and it can be hard to train them all at the same time without burning out and crashing. It can be really, really difficult. If you're just into, say, powerlifting or you're just into cardio or whatever, then it's probably not as difficult. You just have one goal. But if you're interested in getting stronger, but also having good cardio, but also getting more exposure, but also this, also, it can be very, very hard to juggle all of those things without just kind of feeling like you're spinning your wheels and not really getting anywhere with anything. And this is why a lot of people these days almost try and say you can't train lots of things simultaneously, which is rubbish. But it is difficult and it does take good programming and good organization and good knowledge and organization to do that. And that's what has been really helpful. Not having to do it for myself has just been really nice from a mental headspace point of view, which has been really nice for me because I don't want my training to feel like work. I want my training to feel like fun, which it does, which is great. Well, when I first started lifting weights when I was a young guy, like every young guy ever, all I wanted was to just get bigger. I stopped caring about that as much a while ago. And then I got quite into powerlifting and wanted to get big 1-rep maxes. I'm also kind of not as interested in that these days. I still think it's fun and I still like lifting heavier whenever I can, but I'm much more interested in being a well-rounded person these days and having good attributes across the board. So I like being strong, but I also like being explosive. I like being fast. I like having good cardio. I like being mobile. All of these things are really good, especially because I'm getting increasingly into jiu-jitsu these days. Just being strong doesn't really help you that much for jiu-jitsu. Just having good cardio doesn't really help you that much. You need to have kind of all of those things. So yeah, being able to just train lots and lots of different styles at the same time and not feel like I'm not getting anywhere has been awesome and it's really fun. Tarun knows a lot about the plyometric and explosive side of things, especially. That's one area where he knows just far more than I do. So it was cool to just say to him okay, I know nothing about this, just hit me with some weird plyometric stuff and just have fun with that. Because I've never really done a huge amount of that before, but I'm really enjoying it. Every time I have a review with Tarun, I'm give me more weird plyos because they're fun. And yeah, and the lifting side's going well. My 1-rep max numbers probably aren't as high as they were when I was maining powerlifting, but I don't really care. And I don't think anyone I'm doing jiu-jitsu with would say I feel weaker. So it doesn't really bother me. But I'm generally just stronger and more physically capable across the board, which is what I wanted. Now that I've got my training well organized and my sessions are planned out sensibly and carefully, I'm able to recover better and I'm not just feeling exhausted as much, which then carries over better into jiu-jitsu, because there's no point training really hard in the gym if you feel like rubbish and then your jiu-jitsu sessions suffer. And it's got to the point now where my output of jiu-jitsu feels like super high. Like I've done, I think, 6 jiu-jitsu sessions just this week. I think I've done 50 rounds of sparring this week, and it's not been that difficult. Cardio side of things has probably been my biggest improvement. Like I have really good cardio at the moment.
What was it you did earlier in 20 seconds?
Like 22 cals in 20 seconds or something like that. I want to try and do 50 in 30 seconds. That's a goal I have for now. I want to try and do that next year. I've done 46 in 30 seconds before. So I want to try and do 50 in 30. For jiu-jitsu, I think having better cardio has been the biggest boon, and also being just a bit more injury resilient. So because, like I said, before I did this, I was doing a lot of powerlifting stuff, and powerlifting's awesome, but obviously you're lifting heavy weights and you're not always lifting to the fullest range of motion that your body can do. You know, you're squatting just shy of parallel and you're doing deadlifts, you know, in a way, you know, trying not to lift too much range of motion, and you're doing, you know, you're benching with your chest like this. And I found that I was starting to run into problems that I think a lot of powerlifters get, where I wasn't doing enough full range of motion stuff outside of that. And I was starting to run into like little niggles here and there everywhere. Whereas now I'm not as worried about powerlifting, and everything I do is quite like high range of motion. Like I'm doing big deficit press ups and full range of motion dips and really deep squats, and I deficit basically everything. And I'm really liking that. And I do find that comes through really well in jiu-jitsu, because I'll regularly find myself in a position where I'm like hyperextended in some way and it doesn't hurt at all. So that's good. Way better, way better. Like I am 6'9", so back problems are something that's probably always going to be something that I have to deal with a little bit, because of just the world's not built for me. But generally, like just being stronger in that way and a bit more resilient, and then just managing fatigue properly has been really helpful. And that's something I've found as well. What I like about having a coach is, especially with Tarun, is it's very like collaborative. He's not just telling me what to do, and I don't just have to like follow along blindly. He does take my ideas and stuff into account, and it's more like a conversation, which I do like. So we had a conversation recently. I've sort of found that I seem to do better with lower volume on deadlifts. Like high volume deadlifts seem to quite quickly like tax me out. Whereas if I do a couple of sets of heavy deadlifts and then basically stop after that, that seems to serve me quite well. My numbers started going up more since I started deadlifting less, which is interesting. I know some people find that, not everyone does. Yeah, are you the same? Yeah, everyone's different, right? Like, I guess it's because of the range of motion I'm moving, because I'm lifting really, really far. I don't know what it is, but in any case, like I find that doing more volume of things like heavy squats and deadlifts beats the crap out of me. And that's a nice thing. I went to Tarun and said, I think this is what we should do. We should do lower volume on this. And he was like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And it has been. So it's nice to have that, like someone in your corner who you can actually like chat things through with, rather than just having to, another online coach might just give you an app which has your things on it, and they don't really let you feed back at all. It's just there and you're supposed to follow it blindly. But I like that this isn't like that. It's really good.
Yeah.
I think generally just all the like plyometric progress has been good. It's not that I necessarily have got like a big high box jump or anything like that. It's more just a feeling. I just feel a lot more springy, I guess, than I ever have before. Because again, I hadn't really done much plyometric stuff before. I'd done a lot of very static stuff like powerlifting and bodybuilding and that kind of stuff. And I felt quite relatively strong, but quite, you know, rigid and not the most mobile. And I do definitely find that I'm just a lot faster and more explosive and can just do things quickly a lot more, which at my body weight is, you know, pretty difficult. Yeah, and my height, yeah. Like I had someone recently at jiu-jitsu say to me, it doesn't make sense that you're that big and can move that fast, which made me feel pretty good. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing, is I just feel a lot more, springy. That's the main word. The fact that my cardio is so much better these days is great. Like I genuinely in the last year don't remember the last time I got tired sparring. And I'm doing a lot. I got a 60 kilo weighted dip as well, which was pretty cool. And I would love to push dips a bit more. They're fun. They're really, really fun. Tarun really got me into dips. I kind of played with them before, but he's really got me loving them. So that's something I want to keep doing as well. Yeah. And I want to get really good at pull-ups as well. I've always been okay at them, but I want to get them really good.
So what I'm hearing is calisthenics.
I am
weighted Cali.
Weighted Cali stuff is fun. I'm not gonna lie. It is really fun. You don't need to do special, fancy stuff to get stronger. You need to do pretty basic stuff and just get really good at that, and then also structure it properly so that you actually recover. Because ultimately, nothing's gonna get you actually better at jiu-jitsu than doing jiu-jitsu, but making sure that your body is in as good nick as possible so you can do jiu-jitsu well is what will, the two together will come through. So it's not that, you know, hitting a big squat will get you better at jiu-jitsu, but hitting a big squat will mean that your legs are pretty strong, which means your legs won't get injured as often, which means you'll be able to do jiu-jitsu harder, and that will get you better. Your priority with your strength training work should be making your body feel as, you know, in good condition as possible, and then you take that same in good condition body and take it to jiu-jitsu, and it should pay off. Absolutely, like especially the injury stuff. Injuries can be really upsetting. They can be very, very disconcerting and make you feel very, very bad about yourself. Like towards the end of 23, when I had my sciatica flare up, I was really miserable because it made me, I went from, I think I deadlifted, you know, 200 the week before, and then I was struggling to deadlift 60 when it was at its worst. It really sucks, and it makes you feel like you've gone right backwards and you're never gonna get anywhere. Injuries can be very, very upsetting. And so it's nice to have someone there who's gonna help you sort it out and talk through it with you and give you ideas for how to swap it out. Even, I think my first program with Tarun, because my back was really bad, we didn't have any deadlifts or any heavy squats in at all. It was pretty light stuff, just to get the mobility and stuff back. But that was actually quite nice. It gave me a break. And then I came back to it all and started enjoying it all again. So it's nice to have someone there who will sort of fight your corner and let you take a break from things that are bothering you, but then give you stuff to work on in the meantime. Whereas if you are stubborn like me, you might just try and keep on deadlifting through it and hurting yourself more, which isn't good. So it's nice to have someone who will work around it with you without kind of making you feel like you're never gonna get back there again. Because ultimately no one wants to have to step away from the things they love entirely, but you sometimes do have to just work around them a little bit intelligently, but a coach can really help you do that. And Tarun has helped me do that. Unga bunga. Yeah, it's unga bunga all day. Yeah, always. Yeah, no, 100%. No, Tarun and I have very unhinged chats about training all the time that try and be very serious and athlete-y and almost always result in us just being like, should we just do this stupid exercise that I saw online for a bit? Like there was one point where I was doing Reeves deadlifts, which are one of the stupidest exercises ever, but I just wanted to see if I could get a massive Reeves deadlift. I stopped after like a month because they felt terrible, but it was fun to try, and that's the thing I like with Tarun, is that he does care about getting you good results, obviously, but he also really cares about you having fun with your training, which is super important and super valuable. And you guys put a post about this the other day. Anyone who says that like good training is boring doesn't know how to program training properly, because good training should be enjoyable. And acting as though like making progress and enjoying your training are mutually exclusive is ridiculous. You should be enjoying it. And that's the thing I've liked about working with you guys, is that you do put enjoyment and having fun with your training really high up on the priority list without kind of sacrificing actually getting better at things, because you still, obviously that is important. But the two do go hand in hand. It's just you need to be able to coach properly.